Did you ever wonder what would happen if the camera titan never existed in the Skibidi multiverse? How would this change influence the decisions and strategies of the other titans? And in general, how would it affect the entire story? Well, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So, basically, in the first scene of the series, after a brief battle, we saw that Camera got infected. But since in this scenario he doesn't exist, the Skibidis would instead try to infect the Speaker Titan, which would turn out to be successful. This definitely would not be too good for the Alliance. Now that the Speaker is infected, we would still get to see the Clock Titan with his epic entrance, clearing that episode flawlessly. By now, the news about the infection would have reached the base, and they would have started implementing strategies to collect information about the Skibidi base and plan a rescue mission. So, the Clock Titan would, in turn, clear more mutants at the base, and we'd get to see the Magnet Mutant with the Scientist. They would go on to attack the Clock Titan, but just like in the original story, it wouldn't go as planned. The Clock Titan would hold his ground, so the Speaker Titan would come in to support while they immobilize him. But ultimately, the Speaker Titan doesn't have enough attack potency to damage the Clock Titan. Eventually, they would all have to retreat because the Clock Titan was able to hold his own against them. So, with this, the base Clock Titan would not be defeated like in the original story. Back at the base, the Alliance would have found out the location they retreated to, and instead of the Speaker Titan, the Clock Titan would be the one to clear the toilets at the base. We would then get introduced to the Drill Race and the Drill Titan, and this would be a huge relief as they finally have another Titan to aid in the rescue mission. So, the Alliance would group together to attack that location with all they've got to free the infected Speaker Titan. With the Clock Titan and his time abilities, they would be able to buy just enough time for him to get uninfected. Now that the Speaker Titan is free, the Titans would move on to the next episodes, effortlessly clearing out the Skibidis with the aid of the Clock Titan. With this, the damages would be much lesser than in the original story. They would go to attack one of the Skibidis' bases, and in the original, they were severely injured, and the Skibidi set a trap, so they all had to retreat. But in this case, with the Clock Titan, the Titans would pretty much be in good shape, although still worn out from the intense battles. So, with this, the Scientist would not be able to use the time stop because he only got it because they stole the technology from the Clock Titan. But since he was not defeated in this scenario, the Scientist would come into the battlefield and eventually get bullied by all the Titans. He would have no other choice but to scramble away like a chicken with no balls. With this win, the Titans would continue on to the next episodes and would significantly get upgrades, like the Speaker Titan, as it was much easier to upgrade him at that time. But the Scientist hasn't had enough yet. He'll have to come back for round 2 with his ally, Pennywise. With this, the Titans would go on a full attack against them, but this time they would add little mutants to help them, as they are outnumbered. But despite all this, the battle would rage on, and Pennywise would get roasted by the Titan. With Pennywise down, the Scientist would realize he's cooked, as he can't battle all the Titans, so he'll retreat back to base. But just when they are celebrating, the Kamikaze mutants would come in. And I guess that's it for the Titans, right? Yeah, but don't forget that the Clock Titan is on the battlefield. The Clock Titan would use his chrono destruction to at least stop some of the acids and bombs, so the Titans would just sustain minimal damages. But with this, the Clock Titan would receive a message that the base has been taken by the SCP toilets. Enraged, the Clock Titan would head to the base, but at the moment, the agents would have to stall enough for him to arrive. So, the battle would rage on, with agents holding them back and buying enough time for the Clock Titan to arrive. When the Clock Titan comes into the battlefield, he would stop time enough for the bomb to be removed. By this time, the other Titans would have arrived while in the battle with the SCP toilets. With the help of the other Titans, the SCP toilets would, in no time, get smoked by the Titans, thereby saving the Clock base. However, here, some of these Titans are still at base form, like the Drill Titan and Clock Titan, but the Alliance would have a plan. Although not defeated yet, they would be planning the Clock Titan's upgrades, as they know he'll be their trump card against the Skibidis in the battle. The TV Titan would have been working on this as a secret mission, getting everything ready, but the Skibidis would have a plan to nuke their base, and this would not be good. So, the Titans would split up. The Clock Titan stays behind with the Drill Titan to protect the Clock base from more threats, whilst the Speaker Titan goes to stop the nuke from detonating, along with the special agents. Just like in the original, the battle would rage. But this time, since the Speaker Titan would be available here, it would be relatively easier for them, with less damage, as the nukes would not even have to detonate, but they would still be saved by this Chad Drillman. Props to him for saving millions of lives from nuclear attacks. Back at the clock base, the Titans would have taken enough damage due to intense battles. We all know that the base clock Titan had some energy reserves deficiency, but despite all that, and being at base form, they would still be able to clear them, although with extreme difficulty. But after this battle, the two Titans would have to go for upgrades. However, Alpha would be at the Skibidi base and would have struck a deal with the Skibidi. Seeing that the clock Titan is not in good shape, this would be a great time to attack the base. So, the Skibidi would launch a full-on attack on the clock base directly. This would ultimately save the drill race from annihilation, but the drill Titan would still be upgraded due to the injuries they have. At the base, the Speaker Titan would be facing huge troubles against the scientist, trying to at least hold his own against him, while the agents battle ferociously against the toilets at the base. But since the TV Titan's secret mission is officially over, and with his sacrifice, the upgrades would be a lot quicker, he would come into the battlefield to aid the Speaker Titan, who's getting bullied in battle. But not long after, Alpha would come in and start yapping about her plans. However, the scientist has better plans. He would then go on to betray Alpha, cutting off their alliance and retreating back. But Alpha would not give up yet. She would go on to summon the Counter Titan, as she definitely stands no chance against the Titans alone. With this, the Counter Titan would attack the Titans ferociously, and they would lose quite a lot of their upgrades, with the TV Titan being severely injured. Since it's the Speaker Titan here, it would be a huge drawback in the battle, as he's not as durable as the Camera Titan. So, with this, the Alliance would have no choice but to send in the Clock Titan with incomplete upgrades. Since the parts have already been gathered by the TV Titan, the Time Sword would have been carved out already. They just have to add some body armor to make him durable enough, with his core to boost his energy reserves. So, while the Titans are in battle, the Clock Titan would come in to help. But this time, not with his epic sword-piercing entrance. He'll be trying to conserve his energy enough in the battle. Although he would still have the body of the base Clock Titan, he would be a lot stronger. But ultimately, that's just what the Alliance needs to defeat the Counter Titan. With his Time Sword, he would be able to cut and inflict damage on the Counter Titan. Although the Counter Titan would fight back, he'll be stopped in time. And with the slashes of his sword, the Counter would meet his unfortunate end, along with Alpha. But it's not over yet. The Counter would still be able to replicate their weapons and use them against them. But when he fires these weapons at them, the TV Titan would somehow get in the way, taking all the hits, which sadly would be his end. This would be a huge blow to the Alliance. Seeing this, the Clock Titan would have no other choice but to use his final energy from his core, which is risky as it may end his life, but he'll go ahead with it. With his last energy, he'll be able to undo all the damages and restore the Titans back to full health, although at his expense. The Clock Titan would shut down and would be rushed back to the base to save his life. Meanwhile, the Alliance would get information about a certain Skibidi base where, presumably, they would find more information about the Skibidis. When the agents raid this base, they would find out in full detail about the G-Man apocalypse, and what they would find out would not be too good. Here, we'll get introduced to the pencils. However, with this information, they'll know what they are up against and would have to upgrade all their Titans and all forces to attack the base. So, all the Titans, except the Camera Titan of course, would storm the base, clearing out mutants. But since the Clock Titan would still pretty much be immobilized by the Skibidis, the results in the end would be the same. They wouldn't be able to stop the G-Man from awakening, which is GG. Although the Camera Titan doesn't exist here, the Titans would still be able to cover up for that void. So, ultimately, from here on, the story would continue with the Titans trying to get G-Man out of his shell and the Clock Titan battling with the Sinister. But the Camera Titan's absence had a more significant impact on the earlier parts of the story, which speaks volumes about his impact in the story overall. However, check out this video to see what would happen if the Clock Titan got replaced by the Tri-Titan in the Skibidi Multiverse. Unique Clockman out!